Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Golden Opportunities Coaching YouTube channel. Welcome to those of you who are new. Welcome back to those of you seasoned veterans of what we do around here. What we do around here is bring about conversations of a psychological, emotional, and mental health paradigm. We try to do that as often as we can. We've got nearly 800 audios available for your listening pleasure in a variety of topics. If you're looking for, in this particular case, advice to make dating a little bit simpler, I do relationship, business, and creativity coaching, as well as removing blockages and identifying patterns. So if that's something you need, please feel free to reach out. The more specific your question, the better I can be of assistance to you. But also, a couple ways to reach out. You can do so through Twitter at PO Perception. You can do so on the About Me section of this YouTube page. So there's a couple of things to run through if you're looking at making dating simpler. First and foremost, respect has to be at the center of everything you're doing and every connection you're trying to make. Now, respect has to be mutual to be beneficial. In other words, having one person be respectful and the other person not obviously doesn't work. But also, the definition of tolerating and respecting another person has to be clearly defined. The reality of the situation is, at the end of the day, you're not going to get what you need out of a relationship if you don't have mutual understanding of what needs to come next or what needs to go forward. The bottom line as it relates to moving forward is, understanding how to do so in a way that makes sense to you is one of the most important things that any person can do. The next thing to consider is openness. The openness to the process of connecting on a deeper level, emotionally, mentally, and just understanding. Without being open, one cannot fully understand what another person is going through and see if the relationship is in the best interest of both parties. So, honesty as it relates to the darker side of oneself or the negative parts of personality and affect is important. Focusing on, in fact, progress of the relationship in a way that both of you continue to be mutually benefited is also important. A progress mindset is one that looks at goals, both long, medium, and short term, and finds ways that both parties get their emotional, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health needs met through the relationship. When this can no longer happen, it means by nature that you've outgrown each other. It doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad person, but at the end of the day, it does mean that you are moving forward in a direction that may come to negatively affect you. The next thing is communication. So finding a way to regularly, consistently, and committedly communicate needs, aspirations, dreams, focal points, and being able to articulate what's going well in a relationship, what's not going well, and finding ways to do that in a way that makes sense is one of the most important things that any person can do. It does not necessarily mean that a person is, in fact, negatively or positively influenced by the way in which things are going. It just means that looking towards a person to be your solution can be extremely negative. Don't change for the other person, and also begin to understand that being yourself in every way is necessary. Finding ways to maintain your self-identity while making alterations for the sake of a relationship as it works for you is one of the most important things that any person can do. Finding the balance between being yourself and being flexible to another person's needs can be one of the most important and complicated parts of an interpersonal relationship. So, the next is active listening. Active listening is the understanding that waiting to ask questions until you have full understanding of what the other person is saying and asking for clarification when you don't have clear understanding is one of the most valuable things that two people can do when trying to formulate a relationship. The absence of listening can cause many problems in a variety of directions, which ultimately leads to misunderstanding, miscommunication, frustration, anger, and all negative emotions related to the idea that one party isn't getting what they need met out of the situation. The next is motives. Check your motives and the other person's motives going through the relationship. Now, motives generally means the motivating factor for a relationship. Most of us, at least on some level, get into relationships because they're trying to find significance, and so feeling insignificant can often be a problem when a person feels that they're not getting their needs met, and thus they may enter into relational inequality as it relates to getting something together. It doesn't necessarily mean that one party is better than another. It also doesn't necessarily mean that the needs of one trump the other, but finding out if your needs in relationships are compatible is another factor to consider when making these decisions. So hopefully this is beneficial. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Until next time, everybody.